Guys, it's Sarah with Grassroots Evolution Tarot, and I'm here today to bring you a monthly message for the sign of Taurus for January 2023. Keep in mind it's general, take what you feel resonates for you, disregard the rest, go about your days, and know that no matter what messages come through, it's still up to you, your active free will, the choices you make, the steps you take, and how you integrate this message today. My friends, thank you guys for being here. For all my subscribers, I love you from the bottom of my heart. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. If you feel like this resonates and you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe. Join the journey with me. I'd love to have you along the ride. And also remember, guys, I say this every time, but your active free will, the power to do, the choices, like I said, the choices you make and the steps you take in your world to get whatever fulfillment it is you'd like to see, that is personal power and it's personal freedom, and it's something that only you can do because this power is at the tips of your fingers and the soles of your feet. And I think this is something so important for us to remember, that we can accomplish our goals. We can, what I heard is aspire, but live up to our dreams. We can make them reality, but also to make sure that, what I heard is, while we're soaring high, we're not focusing so much on having to fit things into a mold, that we're flexible on how we're going to get these things and how we're going to create our realities. Okay, so before I get into the cards, I'm just going to take a moment to call on spirit. I'm going to ask Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, my team of light, any of your spirit guides that would be here as well for the highest good, to join us for the entire collective. I'm going to ask them to guide, guard, bless, and protect myself, this reading, and any of you who would ask for it, as well as to use me as the clearest channel possible, delivering messages for the highest good of all of us, but the most far-reaching. Okay, so I have the messages from Life Oracle here for a start, just to get some spiritual advice. Now remember, guys, it's the end of January. Time isn't necessarily, this isn't necessarily about January. Time's fluid, but it could definitely be something that you need to know this month, or it could be something going forward. Just take it how you feel it applies. So Spirit, what messages can we get for the sign of Taurus for January 2023, please? Get some spiritual advice. They wanted to put a lot there. Some spiritual advice for Taurus, please. Thank you. So we have these, and the bottom of the deck is, I reap what I sow. We put the work in, we're going to see the results of that effort. I am aware of all that I create around me. Sooner or later, all that I do and all that I think comes back to me in some way. Be it positive or negative, I will reap the fruits of what I have sown. Therefore, I abundantly fill my life with light and love. For all the seeds of light I sow, I will harvest the greatest richness. And this is really important as well. I heard if any of us are kind of going through like depressive episodes or seasonal depression and stuff. The sun is out now today where I live, but it's been kind of dark and dreary. And this kind of year, this time of year, is when a lot of us kind of feel like trapped, because we're not always, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, we're not always able to get out and about and do the things that we'd like to do, as well as it's kind of cold outside and the sun's not giving us as much vitamin D. So this is really important. What I heard about the sun is we may need to take some sort of supplement as well to help us out with that, or get yourself some milk. Not that I'm condoning this or saying go do this, but I saw an advertisement for Corona, something about sunshine, and it was beer that was infused with vitamin D. So if you guys like to drink beer, maybe check yourself out a Corona. I don't know. If you try it, let me know what it tastes like. So we have Master of My Life. We have I Appreciate, Openness, and My Creative Power. This is awesome, because I think it's a really good reminder for you to remember you are the master of your life. No one else gets to write this narrative. No one else gets to tell their story, and we can always change our trajectory. We can always change our line of thinking. This is going to mean, though, however, we're going to need to practice some openness. So I'm going to read to you this card. It says, if one door closes, another opens. I trust the universe, I trust myself, and I trust life. I have faith that something even better is coming. I let go and reconnect with the flexibility that opens me to infinite possibilities. I welcome with humility and without judgment all doors that God opens before me. My creative power. I recognize the power of my thoughts. Do I use these thoughts to build or destroy? I choose to create my universe filled with and surrounded by joy and harmony. I will maintain a positive attitude and let no one or nothing discourage me. I create love and peace. I think this is really important too as you are, responding to the universe and going after these doors that are opening, even if it's just to open it up, look inside, go, no, not for me. This has, what I heard is there's power and there's strength behind this, but this takes courage too. And what I heard with this is give it a chance. Before we open this door right away and say, nope, not mine, feel it out. Because sometimes what we're getting an aversion to right away is because we feel scared, right? But there's this point of, are we scared because it's exciting and we kind of, what I heard is maybe have imposter syndrome, we don't think that we can do it, even though we're fully qualified and able to do this? Or is it something that, we've just never thought of, so therefore the unknown or not knowing what to expect is something that's causing anxiety? This is one of these things that as soon as we step our foot in that door, and we've done it once, the anxiety may dissipate a little bit. Now, my creative power, this part, where it says the power over your thoughts, if you're getting a lot of negative self-talk, intrusive thoughts, or things like this that are telling you you're not good enough, this is where we really need to reframe it and be very, very aware of what's happening and say, no, that's not true. I'm very capable. So if you keep hearing to yourself, you can't do it, you'll never do it, you're just going to fail. Say, no, that's not true. I can do it, I can learn, and I'm not going to fail. Because when we try something, even if we're not the best at it, we're not failing, we're trying and we're learning a new skill. So, for example, they're giving me like cooking. Okay, you may be trying to cook a new dish, and there are times in all of our worlds, no matter how great of a cook we are, you make something, take a bite, and like, no, I'm not eating that. I thought it'd be good. Or you mess something up, you try and fix it, correct it, and it just doesn't work out. There's no shame in saying, that didn't work out, I won't do that again, because this is a learning experience, okay? So, masters of my life, I no longer leave my strength in the hands of my ego. I cease to feed my inferior nature, but make room for the divine presence in me. Thus I become the master of my life anew. I listen to my inner voice and act in accordance with my own truth. I live in abiding humility, grace, and love for the glory of God. And this is knowing, too, you don't have to live for anybody else. Nobody else at the end of the day needs to sit with your actions or sit with your intentions or just sit with your feelings. It's you, right? So this is where we want to make sure that someone else isn't holding puppet strings, somebody else isn't holding a power over us, that we're able to know that, again, this is where it comes down to you reap what you sow. Karma isn't concerned about what someone else did. They're concerned about you and your world. And this isn't necessarily looking at it like it's a negative thing, but this is saying even to get the good stuff, the good juju that is meant for you, Spirit needs you to be in your own creative, constructive power. And as well as, to me, what I heard is, in terms of constructive criticism is what I heard as well. So for some of us, this may be something we need to learn how to take. That if we're working on a project, we need to kind of look at both things, like that, yeah, it might be really great, but there could be something we could do to make it better. This is also not criticizing your work to a point where we get stuck in this perfectionism loop and choose not to do it. Okay? So, I appreciate. I stop clinging to my misfortunes, troubles, and worries. I cease to be dissatisfied and I stop focusing on what I do not currently have. Instead, I direct my thoughts towards what is wonderful in my life. With all my heart, I appreciate all that I have. I accept and appreciate what is as it is. I express my loving thanks to the universe for the wealth that is mine. Guys, I feel like for some of you, I heard you may be writing a book, you may be creating music. It could be that you're coming up with new recipes and things like that. And this is have patience throughout this, because what I did here as well is you're co-creating with God or source, universe, and whatever ideas that come to you, know that they're divinely guided. Know that they're worth looking into at least. And what I also heard is you may want to write it down, especially if you tend to channel a lot. Or if you get a lot of different ideas, sometimes we can go from one idea to the next, to the next, to the next, and then we're like, oh no, I thought of something really good, but I can't remember. So if you do get a lot of ideas, write them down. We have here the mirror. So this can represent Scorpio, But to me, what I'm guided to tell you is about this medicine bag on the heron's neck. For some of you, you may have Native American heritage, and this may be asking you to get more in touch. What I heard is with some of those practices. But for a lot of us as well, I think it's very important what we wear around our neck. So I'm guided to take mine out, is that whether it's a bag that can often contain healing stones, different herbs and things like that that can help heal us as well. It could even be like for some of the old lockets, they used to contain scents. You could use something like that as a diffuser, so that if you're having anxiety or if you're struggling, if you're needing mental clarity, you can just kind of sniff it. I find myself, depending on what's on my necklace, this particular piece of clear quartz came from my grandmother. She passed away. She wore this like almost every day, that I remember seeing for probably like 20 years. So the thing is that when I hold this, it is a reminder of a few things. First off, my power. Second, my grandma. But it's also important because this is over my heart, knowing that I'm powerful enough to do what I set out to do. So for some of you, I'm hearing black onyx. It could also be smoky quartz or something like that. But this could also be rose quartz, hanging rose quartz around your neck, in your satchel or in your medicine bag, or carrying it in your pocket, right? However you need to do it. But to maintain self-worth and self-love, there is also here as well to not be too critical of ourselves, because while she is, yes, looking in the mirror, it's not in an admiring way. She has the mirror, it's closed, she's holding her power. And this is again coming back to me with this creative power. Do I use it in my thoughts to create and build, or do I use it to destroy? And that's stuff with even our own constructive criticism we need to look at on the day-to-day. How am I going about life? How am I acting? Where am I contributing to my own wealth and my own success? And how am I creating habits that are going to be sustainable for helping me accomplish my goals? Where am I getting in my own way? Where is there places where I'm self-sabotaging? And for some of us, we may not always be comfortable in this place, but I think it's very important with the self-awareness as well, because if we're going to be open to different doors that are coming our way, we want to make sure that we're not going to be the doorstop or the blocker that's not allowing them to open. For some of us as well as what I heard, our ego, and that is again pride and things like that, the places that say maybe you're not good enough, maybe there's something that says you're too good for that, and this is places to listen. But this is also about when we're coming through this constructive criticism, when we're looking at all the places and the ways where we stand up for ourselves and we do good for ourselves, and then we look in the ways where we're like, well, I can definitely do this better, or I need to stand up higher for myself, I need to, really revise my thought process, stuff like this. We need to be willing to let that part of us go. So there also, to me, this is Egypt. I believe there's a significance to that about Egypt sending them off. So let me just see. I opened up to 21, and this is a number 12 with mirror, which 1221 as well is mirror time. It's a mirrored number, and it is going to be important, again, self-reflection. There are 3 trees in the back here as well, which to me can be working with another person, but it's co-creating with spirit. And in order for us to be able to co-create to get to this island, we need to let this pass first. So let's turn to number 12. I just don't want to miss anything. Yes, so this is a sleeping soul. So she's the lady of the lake. So I'll read this part to you anyway, because this is important. And it doesn't mention Excalibur, so Arthur's sword, King Arthur's sword. It says, in many traditions, the initiator into hidden knowledge is a female figure that reveals insights and wisdom to those on a spiritual sojourn. In the ancient Arthurian cycles, this is Morgan, who takes Arthur on his journey into limbo and healing in the Isle of Avalon. The Lady in the Lake is another such primal figure who also acts as a holder and guardian of the sword Excalibur as an arbiter of Arthur's actions. Both these archetypes represent the unconscious journey of the soul into deeper awareness and wisdom. No act of will can make the soul take this journey. It can only happen after much searching and questing. It is also a precondition of this experience that some kind of wounding has taken place. It is through the pain and endurance of the wounding that wisdom comes, at which point the individual can cross the lake to the island of healing and protection. It is a natural state of surrender and allows the inner self to travel across the emotional sea otherwise. So there's a point here. It says patience and prudence are key words here. Although trust plays a large part in the process of crossing to the island where insights into our own unconscious workings may be revealed. This process differs from the journey of the hooded man, which would be the hanged man, because in a mirror, a surrender of will is required. For some of us as well, I feel like this is that battle of wills that for a long time we may have, and they're bringing me back to, we may have refused to kind of take those constructive criticism with ourselves. We may have refused to see our own actions and the ways that we may have contributed to a downfall or something like this. There is a real, what I heard is dropping our guard, because you need to drop your guard to get over, to face your fears, to get over to that sword, right? So if you wanted to look at this, like this is the Lady of the Lake, and you're going to go through, and you're going to go pull that sword out of the stone, and you're going to get the powerful Excalibur, there's some stuff here where you're going to need to drop your defenses to do. So I want to get a bit more about this mirror, please. Thank you. So we have under here, now they're both in the reverse. I'm going to flip them over and we'll get the messages as they come. But this is the 4 vessels with boredom. In the reverse, I do think it's interesting, especially coming out with this mirror, because this is also the places where sometimes, what I was just taken to and I was thinking of attitude. Sometimes it's our attitude towards things that gets in our way. And it's something that we don't even notice, right? We may have kind of like a glass half empty or pessimistic attitude about certain things, and then we can't understand why our life isn't flowing in the way that we need it to, but we are stopping it in its infancy in our mental state. This comes down to stuff like, weight loss is coming to my mind, right? It's one of those things, but it's more because some of it's going like so in terms of weight loss, what I'm thinking is if you want to lose weight, but you know that eating before you go to bed is going to pack the pounds on, but you just can't seem to break that habit. This is going to be that it needs our will. We need to break the habit of eating before bed, because you're not going to burn those calories off, right? They're going to just stay in your system. And I also heard that's going to back your system up a little bit. But this is also, if we're looking at, the words are no one loves me, or, things like that, when we're really getting down on ourselves and we're thinking that no one loves you, or that no one's going to understand you, that no one likes us. And these are all this really negative self-talk things, this intrusive thoughts that we need to be very aware of and say, that's not true. I'm a very lovable individual. This is where we need to look at, okay, am I creating these and setting up self-fulfilling prophecies by, let's say you want to go ask somebody on a date, and you think about it, and then you're like, well, they'd probably say no anyway. This is the stuff that unless you take the leaps of faith towards what's going to bring your heart joy, this could again be romantic relationships. This could be trying to build stronger relationships with your kids or your family, your loved ones, your partners. That for what I'm feeling on this is bringing up, like, if we're not willing to open our heart and practice this medicine, again, that goes on our neck, it's going to sit about the heart chakra, right? That there's a lot of healing we need to do. And there is, so with this, it says, I stopped clinging to my misfortunes and troubles. There is stuff probably from the past that has informed these ideas, and we are no longer there. So one of the things I was hearing was, while I was shuffling these as well, was you can't change the past, but you can rewrite the future, or you can't set your sails, right, or change your sails, but you can adjust them accordingly. You can't harness, or you can't control the wind, right, but you can set your sails to work with it. And I think that that's what this is there may be a lot of stuff coming up. I also heard it could have been in the time of Scorpio that really maybe has you down, and this is where you need to, on purpose, flip turn it, say no more of that, I'm done with that. So tell me a little bit about this Page of Vessels with the Otter, and it being in the reverse as well, to me says you need to get out and play, because the Otter is playful. And for some of us, I think that this has just been taking ourselves way too seriously. For others of you, you may have in the past used, there's nothing wrong with humor, okay, but used humor or jokes and things like this as a deflection method to not feel what we need to feel, not go through what we need to go through. So this Woodward fell upside down here. This is the Wildwood Tarot, by the way. And I think to me this speaks about not being an authority of your own worlds, as well as this could even be some disloyalty to yourself. This card in the upright does speak a lot about loyalty, that this cat is going to stick by him. It is an 11. This cat's going to stick by him, though, even though he's wearing his last cat on his head, right? These two are not one and the same, and there is a control dynamic. In the reverse, I feel like it is important to look at the places where we're clinging too tightly to control. If there are places in our world where someone else is clinging tightly to our control. And this is all stuff that if someone else is controlling our moves, or if we're allowing other people's feelings or thoughts of how we're going to live our life control our movements, we're going to stay stagnant. The Sun card came out here, and this is awesome. To me, this is about personal success. It's about personal freedom, and it is an open heart. You may also want to get outside in the sun and use that vitamin D, use that sun energy to help cleanse and heal. So with the creative power as well, if you see the sun is coming through here, he's harnessing. It's not burning him. The sun will not burn you. It might burn your eyes, so don't look at it directly too long or anything like that. But that you are powerful enough that you can harness this energy. So you may want to very, very consciously ask the sun to help burn away any energies of darkness or negative thought processes or things like that. Ask it to help heal you, to help cleanse you, and help bring you anew. As well as what they're telling me is I heard circadian rhythm. Because the bottom of the deck here is the 5 of Arrows. There's frustration. For some of you, you may have a lot of trouble sleeping as well. I also heard night shift because your circadian rhythm may be a little messed up. If you're sleeping at night and when the sun is up, because our body wants to get up when the sun's up, right? So there is a lot here, and I think that this is something, what I heard is you're going to want to dive into. If you do have sleeping issues as well, this may be where I'm hearing, especially depending on your line of work, I mean, for some jobs, that's just the way it is, right? That there needs to be some sort of person on call at night, and there's not much way around this. But also what I heard is, this is really where we may want to look at all the doors that are opening for us, and maybe it's time for a career change. If you felt like it's time for a career change, and especially if it's because of the lack of sleep that you've been getting, I think that if it's been a nudge to you, this is something to go after. And again, cut all those ties to the negative self-talk that says you can't do it. That's not true. Okay, that is ego, and that's our fear getting to us. And this is something that if we allow that to get a hold of us, it's going to rule us, and we don't want that to happen either. So I have a message here from the Wisdom of the Trees Oracle, and let's see what we get here. Spirit, what would be some helpful knowledge for anyone watching this? Thank you. And you have the Black Elder. Let's see what I did with that, and we'll figure out pomegranates. Cherry, date. So the Black Elder speaks of abundance. It says, I have ancient powers and can bring you abundance and protection. My flowers bring you refreshment in the hot summer, and my berries give you sustenance in the autumn. If you honor me, I will send you many blessings. Trust in the abundance of the world around you. Concentrate on everything that you want to attract in your life, feeling and thinking as though you already have it, and give thanks for your many blessings. So this is also, if you find yourself in this four of vessels, 4 of cups energy, feeling sad, this is where it is really important to look around at all the things you have. Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food in your belly? Do you have access to clean drinking water? Are you warm? Or if it's really hot where you are you able to cool down? Are your basic necessities met? They're talking to me about, like, if you're watching this, you have access to the internet. There is a lot of people, and this isn't saying that just because, to compare, but there are so many people in our world who if you said yes to all of those questions, there are so many people who can say, no, I don't. And I think that this is really where it's important when we start looking at these, the worldly ideas of what we have to have. It's just really dwindling down to the basics. And yeah, you want to have love in your life. You want to have abundance. Acting as though it's already here is the way we're going to attract more. Because if we're constantly looking at the world around us in a glass, like I said, that glass half empty mindset, that's what the universe is going to bring to us. Because it's like, well, that must be what they want. Glass half empty. Let's give them what they want. So moving forward to help you along this transition, I'm going to ask, this is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So you have the bottom, which is create art. This could be drawing. This could just be scribbling. For some of you, this is stream of consciousness writing. Okay? But you have here, drink some tea. Cut down your caffeine, but this also could be sleepy time tea or something to help you relax at night. They have peppermint here, could also be lavender, and just quietly sit there, feel the warmth. This may be something that's really helpful for you as well, being very conscious and aware of how does that cup of tea feel in your hands? How does it taste? Making sure that you savor this and being thankful for it as well. Deep breathing, helping us sleep as well, is what I feel like, because if you're having trouble going to sleep at night, as you're laying in your bed, put your hand over your heart. You could always say a little gratitude prayer for everything that you have. Repeat that you are safe, you are protected, you are loved. And I think that it's really important, like maybe even 5 would help, but deep breaths in and out, and just eventually doing in this until you are either in like sort of trance state or you're just very, very relaxed, and it's going to help you sleep. And we also have here, look for the fairies. Get outside into nature and look for those things that are just magical in the world. Many of us want to say they don't exist because we can't see them, or because we've been told not to believe in them, or that it's folklore. But what I also heard is, how if we don't believe what we can't see in, how are we going to hope for a future? Can't see it. Nothing's written in stone. For some of you as well, I do feel like you may want to create backyard spaces or even spaces in your house that the Fae feel welcome to help bring and sprinkle their magic, okay? So that is the message I have. I think that you are very capable and very, very blessed in this world, that whatever is going to come to you next, it's going to be exactly what you need. Regardless of whether the experience feels like it's a positive one or if it feels like it's negative, this is where Spirit's like, again, we reap what we sow, and we need to make the most and the best out of every situation we're given in the world. So take that for what it is. But if you're feeling overly anxious, if you're having trouble sleeping, under here also was dancing, and ground yourself was under there as well. So was use your hands. If you're having trouble sleeping, get up and dance, throw a song on, move, or come downstairs, do some jumping jacks, do something that's going to get your body moving. It may energize you for a minute, but then it's going to tire you out. As well as if you're having trouble sleeping or if you're feeling overly anxious, doing and creating something that's keeping our hands moving. For many of you, okay, what I did here is your business, this new opportunity, it may be coming from your art. So don't stifle yourself in your communication. Don't stifle yourself in your creative content, because you are creating something that I heard people want to see, and they will pay for that. Okay, so I love you all. I will talk to you later. I hope it resonates, and have yourself a wonderful day, guys. Mwah.